allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. On tonight's agenda, we have property and liability insurance discussions, street lighting discussion, and other business, and then at 6:30 we have a non-public session. Scott, you want to lead us on the property and liability insurance?
Yeah, this is the current listing of what we have covered under that policy. And I've sent this out to the department heads just to do a quick inventory to make sure that things that should be listed are on here, and things that have either been disposed of as far as equipment is no longer listed here. So I haven't gotten all the feedback returned as of yet. But that's kind of the process that we're going through to see if there's anything that we can do to perhaps trim the amount. Bert had asked me to also inquire about the amount of coverage we had on building 2 behind us here. And Primex has a representative come out and look at the building and set a value for the building and the contents. It's not something that we could adjust the value on.
Mm-hmm.
They determine what the value is, and what their commitment is. If that costs more than what they have it listed for, they pay for 100% replacement, regardless of what it's on this sheet for. The concern was, could we reduce the value considering the building is just being used for warehousing now? And the answer was basically no, we can't. We don't have that flexibility. They determine what the value is of the building, and that's how the policy is written.
And I can understand that, and I'd agree with that. I'm just wondering if they know, though, that the building inspector years ago has condemned the building. So I don't know if that has an impact.
I can certainly ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not amount to a hill of beans.
Right.
So, a couple of the others, though, that I also saw on here was the garage that's listed again on Turnpike Road. Again, it's a building we don't use because it is so dilapidated, right word? And they've got it valued at $123,000 in contents of 36, and my understanding is everything's been taken out of that building. So that would be the one that's at 497 Turnpike, across the street from the fire station. Did Peter get back to you on your question about where that forklift is?
He did not. In fact, he gave me his return of this document, and he checked off all the equipment, and I don't recall seeing the forklift checked off.
Forklift should be at the transfer station.
Transfer station?
It's in the recycling building is where it should be, and he should confirm that. That's where it was always used.
Okay.
At one point in time, the town used to compact the plastics, and they had that.
Okay.
The other question I was gonna ask is they have at 1381 Turnpike, the garage, the recycling building, and a landfill garage. We only have 2 buildings there. One is a garage, which they house the loader in, and we have the recycling
building that they have noted, unless this landfill garage they're referring to is the shed that the guys stay in, I guess for $5,000.
Yeah, so she said some below values, if they removed them, it wouldn't change.
Yeah, yep,
wouldn't
I
change the premium.
just wanna make sure we've got everything covered,
Right.
more than,
Right,
Well, I hate to be paying too much, like for instance, the Old Town Hall, if you actually do the on-the-ground measurements, it's only 2,200 square feet.
yes, but if you, 2,200 square feet,
60 by 36.
that may be something we can ask them to check, but I would think to replace the building would be,
Yeah, it may very well
Yeah.
be expensive
Yeah.
to replace because of its historic value, but maybe we could get it reduced slightly due to the square
Yeah.
footage.
okay. Do you know what size that upstairs is?
That I do not know.
It's not much, it's just a balcony, it's
Yeah.
not much space at all.
Okay,
Maybe it might be a couple hundred square feet,
Yeah, that's
perhaps.
okay.
200 to 300.
Sheds and dugout was the other one. Did they ever pick up that building that the volunteers built? That storage building that's there?
I have no idea.
Do you know what the general government, did they explain what the general government building is at 670 Turnpike?
670 Turnpike. Is that
Probably across
the,
the street.
is that the existing police station? Are they, where we currently house our police?
Yeah, cause they don't insure
Oh,
the
it's just
building.
contents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be police. And then building 2, we have no contents in there.
Right, because it's a leased
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah. Did you ever find out if Warwick, I'm almost positive as part of their lease requirement, they forward us the certificate of insurance for,
I did not have a chance to look
Okay.
that up. But,
and then, on the Main Street property, 36 Main Street.
That's the building that houses the Wachusett.
So if we can have them rename that for the, old fire station?
Sure.
And we should have that insured for contents. Because that,
The,
what you said,
they are actually,
are they separate?
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they
separate
are.
under general
Okay.
government, hand pumper and a fire truck.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Not insured for much, but they're insured.
Uh,
I checked online and those are, the Wachusett, the price on that varies depending on the condition, all over the place.
they have it tagged as ambulance, and since we don't have ambulance, public health trailer. I'm assuming that's the emergency management. If you could check with Mike or Peter or even Tim on that one. That's the one on the second page, the top, $30,000.
mhm.
And I would have them move that title up for the ambulance that's in the middle here. This looks the Bumblebee Fire Department.
Oh, did they pick up that new truck we
That's why
acquired?
I'm thinking it's that $408,000 value.
Mm-hmm. The Spartan.
Okay. That's that new, well, I was
No.
thinking more of the brush truck.
Yeah, the new,
Oh,
I think is that the Stuart Stevens,
Stuart Stevens.
the 2008?
Seems like a lot of money for a brush truck, but
It's not just a brush, I mean, they're using it as a brush truck, it's not a brush truck.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if that was given to us, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe they assigned a value.
yeah, that is what that is. That is a Stuart Stevens. And they probably base it, they take the VIN, plug it in and do it, but yeah,
And then
that's a Stuart Stevens.
on the highway vehicles, you're saying Peter gave you the updated, did he get that, roller on there? Cause we had bought that roller, and we had also bought a, trailer at the time.
That might Primex for the right, I apologize.
That's okay. I see a trailer on here, so maybe that was the one we bought, just need to get the roller on here. Anything else we bought that?
Not
you
that
don't
I
see on
remember.
there?
No,
Not that I think would be insured under that, no.
I'm just looking at, this, just for example, that 2008 Ford F-250 pickup truck. That's 10 years old and it's still, they're giving it a value or assigning a value of $22,000. I mean, is that sensible? I mean, I know, they just look up VIN numbers or something like that, but for a 10-year-old pickup truck,
10-year-old diesel.
With a plow?
oh, with the plow, yeah, maybe.
Yep.
That's worth about 5,000 on top of it. And so. I just hope these numbers aren't ridiculously arbitrary.
Thought the other one was the one that you would have questioned, the one right below it.
Dump truck,
That's only that little 1 ton
yeah, well,
for 53 grand. Thoughtful. Do we have any updates from them for, budget season?
Not as of yet.
yeah, just one comment on that. John Schomloffel has a number of conflicts on Tuesday nights, so whenever we can, you might wanna just touch base with him and see what his schedule's looking like to have him get in on a night that he is actually available. He asked me to pass that on.
Okay.
street lighting discussion. I had sent Eversource that list,
Mm-hmm.
and they got back to me. How does this work? I think the only lights that they install now are the LEDs, which we would need to have a vendor to supply them the LEDs on poles that don't currently have lights. The gist of it was, he was saying, do you guys want to consider replacing your light fixtures with LEDs? He says, you should put out an RFP, and what he's been seeing is there's like a 2 to 3 year payback. So if that were the type of return on investment, I said that would make sense. I says, but what does Eversource have to kick in to help out? He says, well, it depends on what it is you put in, but typically it amounts to like $100 a fixture, I think it was. And I know I didn't understand this correctly, and I should have followed up again with him, but I thought when I was asking him, well, what's the cost? Do you know what it costs to put in a fixture? He says, they don't do it, so he doesn't know, but he thought like $165 a fixture, and I just can't believe that. I think you could, I don't even know how you can buy a fixture for that, never mind have it put up. But the long and the short was, that's why I had it on this evening's agenda, is whether or not we should try and put together an RFP. He did forward me vendors that he's familiar with that do that, price that up, and I think it doesn't hurt to try.
So what do you mean? So on the spots that we thought we wanted to put some new lights up, we would have to purchase a fixture, hire a vendor to install it, and then Eversource just comes and wires it in.
No, if I understood him correctly, he was saying if you go the route of the RFP, you would have a vendor, you would pick the fixture, then we would have the fixture supplied to Eversource. So Eversource would then come out, run the wire to run that fixture, and I believe you said that then they would install the fixture that was supplied.
Okay.
He was saying like
So
now
the
you don't
vendor
want
is only to sell us a fixture
and install at existing locations.
at existing locations.
So you're talking universal replacement.
Yeah, because that's what he was saying. He says you don't want to be going with. Yeah, at first he was saying the high pressure sodium. I said no, we got rid of those a while ago. I said we have the metal halide now. He says yeah, but I don't know that you want to be mixing LEDs with metal halide. Not that to me it's the end of the world. A light's a light if it's lighting the area. But I told him, I said from memory I thought we had about 110 street lights in the vicinity. So I said I'd bring it before you guys and see what your thoughts were.
To pay the initial cost, would we want to run a warrant article? I mean,
I can't
I mean-
answer that until I know what that initial cost
yeah, I
is.
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, price per fixture.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, it doesn't cost us anything to put out an RFP.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I recall, when I went to the New Hampshire Municipal Association annual meeting a couple of years ago, one of the seminars that they had there dealt with this issue of communities trying to move not just their street lighting, but even some of their building lighting to LED. And there were some partnerships that could be formed where the rebates were advantageous to make it cost-effective for a community to move forward. So I'll have to kind of dig through my files and see if I can find that, or call the municipal association and see if they recall what programs those were and what the process is to make yourself eligible for those programs.
Well, just to shed a little light, we did, how long ago was that, John? A year?
Yeah, it was
Year
over.
and a half?
Yeah, a year.
We did, a company had come in, and I have it in the folder in there, provided us with, costs and a cost payback for the building lights and street lights. So we have something on that. And I can forward you the contact that I had from that called me from Eversource. If he can shed any, all he don't, because I was knowing that Eversource does have rebate money available. And I was expecting to say it was already exhausted or whatever, but he made it sound like it's readily available, so.
So we're currently running 100% metal halide right now, or almost 100%?
I think there was one light fixture on the end of Thayer Road. It was a high pressure sodium. I don't know why.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's see if, do an analysis and see if it justifies.
Could we task you with putting together an RFP?
Sure.
I had asked this gentleman if he could forward me one. He says he doesn't have them because he doesn't do them, but he said the city of Keene had done it. You can probably just Google or contact.
Yeah,
There was a couple of cities, towns he gave me names of that he thought had done it recently.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, we can do that.
Tim, have you met Scott Butcher?
I'm not sure if we have.
I'm sorry. Tim Molino, one of our state reps.
Nice to meet you.
Scott Butcher?
Nice to meet you, Tim.
While I'm typing away, why don't you give us an update? Must have had a nice week last week.
It's been satisfying up at the State House. Finally get to watch their smug faces run the other way. So, actually, I talked to Peter about Collins Road, and I talked to the bus company. We discussed it, and thank you, by the way. They came out the next day with fixing the potholes. They missed the giant one in the middle, but that's not really a pothole. It's kind of like the 5-foot section of the road missing. It's just a huge.
It's a median like, isn't it?
No, that's like in the actual road that goes up Collins Road. It's about a 5-foot section that's just a divot. It's, I don't even know if you'd want to throw a patch in there because it would probably just fall apart right away. It's huge. But bus company said they can't get up there because on the right-hand side there's a really steep hump. And I talked to Peter and he's like, they can't do anything about it. It's a rock ledge. So I don't know what you do at that point. Bus can't get up there. Peter can't do anything about it. So where do we go from there?
It is what it is until that road gets on our list of improvements.
Excellent. How do we get that going? How many Tuesdays of me showing up is that gonna take?
Oh, at least 52.
I'll be here. All right. Let me check my calendar.
I'm sure you can find us some state funding to
Hey,
just
we did good. We were there. I think New Ipswich was like 480,000 was coming back.
No,
Or did you? Was that
155.
Okay, that's not the paper I got. I actually was talking to someone like, can you give me that paper again?
I was just reading the letter from our senator.
Okay, yeah, because they were throwing all sorts of papers on that budget vote that we had. They're like, here, read this, here, that, and I'm like, you give me like 20 minutes to read like pages and pages of paper and then vote on something I don't really know a lot about because you discussed it last night and behind closed doors.
Oh, that's illegal, isn't it? Don't we have a right to know why in this state?
Yeah, well, you gotta pass it before you can understand what's in it, apparently. So, I couldn't even vote. I voted against House Bill 4. I couldn't vote for that.
And what was House Bill 4?
That was the one, the glaring issue I have with that was the business tax. It kept it at the current rates, but if the state didn't generate enough revenue, they start ratcheting it up, depending on how much revenue they didn't take in. I think that's a crappy way to look at it.
And how much does it drop when the state brings in more revenue?
Exactly, it's nothing. Yeah, you wouldn't let it go the other way, don't be ridiculous. So, but I wanted to bring that to your attention with Collins Road, because it's kind of an impasse, there's nothing they can do about it, so,
It's not a new issue.
well, I'll be
They,
here on
they
Tuesdays.
could always come up the other road, you know.
Which road? The backside, the class 5,
No.
or the private drive?
Isn't there one after the private drive?
There's
That's right.
The backside of
Yes,
Collins is a
yeah,
class
yeah.
5 they wanted to fix. I think they should not fix that and fix the front side of Collins.
No, I
If you
think,
took- if
I
you
think
took-
what we should do is from one end to the other.
Hey, if you wanna pay for the whole thing, I'm just thinking the apron, just get the apron to the flat part, I would be like, woo!
No.
Get a bus up there, would be happy, but if you wanna do the whole thing, I'll be here twice a week for that.
You can only come with money.
You tell me how much and I'll go fight for it. So, put us to the top of the list, how about that? But no, if, I'll start asking around and see what it is out there. Actually, you mentioned the town hall, has anyone looked at any of the grant money from the state? They do those, improvements,
The Heritage Commission looked
Yes,
into it, but one of the issues is we have to do some stuff before they will consider us for the grants according
Okay.
to, like, because it
minor
doesn't,
repair work and stuff,
there's no well, there's no septic.
okay,
So in order for, they said, well, you're looking at it, what are you gonna use it for? Well, if you're gonna use it, you have to have a well and septic.
yep,
So,
makes sense.
so that's the piece is the well and septic have to be,
In place
In
before they'll
place.
look at it for a grant.
right, because otherwise it's not it can't be
Yeah,
used for
they'll be
public.
throwing money at something that can't
Right.
be used by the public,
Exactly.
so, okay. Is there any thought about doing that, or not this time?
No, it's in talks. Basically, what you see that building sitting on
Yep,
is its property.
yikes,
I believe there's already a slight easement off the side of the building, just so they can maintain like paint.
yep,
You know, the back of it, the back of the building is on the property line. When you open the back door, it swings over the neighbor's property. That's how tight it is on the back. It's either a
It's a
matter of
constraint.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's either a matter of getting a long-term easement from the neighbor or some sort of purchase agreement or something like that.
alright.
So
Well, if it comes down to that, you know, I'm gonna stay involved with things, but this is my last term as the rep, so, but I'll stay involved in the committee and everything. So I'll still have a voice out there.
yeah.
But-
What committee is that?
So we just started the, it's basically New Ipswich Temple Sharon Republican Committee.
Oh,
We've never had one in town. It's sad, they've always just taken the vote for granted. And so I said, well, why not just start a committee so we can start hearing these candidates come out here. We've got some of the federal candidates coming out, state candidates, the House leadership is coming out to talk to people tomorrow. So just to engage the voters with the actual people that are voting for.
so who's coming out?
So we have, tomorrow it's Steve Negron, Kevin Avard, Al Baldessaro, and Fred Doucette, who are both, Al is the minority floor leader, as well as, co-chair of Trump's campaign for the state. Same with Fred, and then Chris Azier is the Hillsborough County chairman for the Republican Committee. Myself and Paul Somro will be there. So, hopefully it's just not us showing up.
Mr. Avard planning to run again? Because didn't he lose?
I believe he is. Yep, same with Steve.
Well, you should pass on the message if he was a little more,
Aggressive?
responsive and for the town of New Ipswich.
That's why I wanted people to come out here. Start holding them accountable, you know? Stop just voting on paper and start talking to these people.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, I think, I've been talking to the county chairman, and, yeah, they've always taken us for granted. And it's time to say, no, let these people ask questions of you and find out what you're about. So, show up tomorrow, you can ask them face to face.
Kinda short notice, right?
Never short notice in this town. Right down the road. But that's all I have.
Good, thank you.
Awesome.
Have a great evening.
Thank you
You
for
too,
the
thanks,
update.
Tim. And I'll probably be at the building tomorrow night because I have another meeting at 6 o'clock there. So I'll make sure that something
Yeah,
happens.
just tell me where to go and what,
Yeah.
you know, where to set up stuff and I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
Make
perfect.
it happen. So,
Sounds good.
Take care.
All right, we'll see you.
I want the arms in the chair.
I know, it's like, I'll just keep it back.
Can we get you a pillow?
That'd be good, cup of tea. They have really good orange, raspberry orange tea at Picnic Place, it's amazing. I have some in my desk.
Are you meeting with us or we meeting with you?
What was the last part? I got the first part.
Are you meeting with us or are we meeting with you?
Is that like a trick question?
No.
It's by mutual agreement.
Because if you're meeting with us, I'll make a motion to go into non-public session.
Oh.
But it's gonna be a non-public, but we're not there quite
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
Uh,
Because you could come into our room.
Already inflicting discomfort.
While you're here, Jim, and I don't know if Scott's reached out to you already, but where are we with getting that letter or whatever from the fire brigade turning over?
You'll never get one.
We won't.
No. You got something from me already,
And what was that?
basically stating that the fire brigade doesn't exist. We can't turn the property over to you.
Just something in writing to say that the fire brigade is dissolved. We no longer
We
have
never
the use
met
of the
and
building.
dissolved. It dissolved because there's nobody left. I was the last person.
And I thought when you came in last time, I had in my notes that you were going to send
I
us a
did
letter.
turn something in.
Yeah, I thought Joanne did something with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause
Joanne
I
had.
had to notarize something that you signed, I thought,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah.
You didn't remember it last week.
Well, you're prompting my memory.
It's not a big deal. I have no problem saying.
I'm just
something.
saying, we have to, I'm assuming because when it was first done, I remember seeing something in the file that got recorded. So I'm thinking now to go back to get it re-recorded, we would need something.
You can't get something from us. We can't give you a quitclaim deed or anything like that. I mean, because we don't exist.
Okay,
And-
we'll figure it out.
But I honestly thought Joanne did something to that effect.
We'll
that we
look through the
haven't
files
done.
and find out.
We did not have, when we took the property, which I didn't really want to, okay? We had no authority to ever transfer that property to anybody else. It went to an organization. What they did was, we were gonna take care of some antique fire equipment, which the town owned. They had a building, and somehow, some way, there was this movement to get it back on the tax rolls or some of the dumb things. Anyway, they wound up giving us the building. We were a nonprofit, and at the same time, the fire chief, which is several fire chiefs ago, wanted to take the equipment, sell it, and spend the money, okay, which you can't do anyway.
Didn't the town own the building to begin with?
Well, sure, the town owned the
Did
We
building.
did, and then there was a document I saw in the file where they gave it to the fire brigade for $1. So now that became theirs.
It
They,
was, you know,
either,
politically.
Jim, I am telling you what I'm reading, and
No,
that's
no,
why
I-
I'm just
I
saying, how do
agree
we
I
do
agree
it
with
the
you.
other way?
I agree
So,
with
Do you
you.
have the address of that off the top of your head?
36 Main, I believe.
36?
I totally agree with you, okay? But I was the treasurer of the organization. And the organization ran out of money several years ago. I kept the electric meter going, okay, out on my own. I finally said, enough's enough. What happened was, the group was too old, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We thought we'd get involved with some help from the fire department and maybe some people from the historical society might get involved and a few other people. Never happened. We had a couple of fundraisers that worked good, and the first couple of years weren't too bad, but.
Is there anything in the building now?
Oh, yeah,
The other Wachusett and the pumper.
yeah. And the hand pumper is an 1860 Hunneman. The town bought 3 hand pumpers in 1860.
All right, let's stop there for now. Let us get the rest of this so we can
Yeah.
get business at hand.
Anyway, if you need something, let me know, but
Yeah, we'll check the files, see what we need to do. Under the I'm assuming we can talk publicly, if not, if it has to go non-public. Last week, you were gonna check with, Jessica around what that timeline was gonna be for the deeding. Did she ever?
She's been out.
Okay.
She was back in today for the first time, and it kind of slipped my mind, so.
I'm just curious
Yep.
where we'll need to be.
And something we should look at, just because it popped up, one of the properties, I was told has it, much like some of the other ones, even though it looks like it's a big piece of property, sits on like a postage stamp piece of property. So it's something that we should probably pull the tax map on one of those, just so we actually know what's there
Okay,
for that piece. When we go into non-public, I'll explain it further.
okay, I will put it in now. Any progress with town council on meeting on the cemetery?
Got an update, which I can discuss.
Okay, that'll go on. You know, we set for starting the budgets next week.
Potentially. Sent the calendar out and immediately got some pushback. And it's sounding like we should move the schedule out a week. That will accommodate a couple of different issues based on what I've seen so far. And I'm still waiting to receive more emails with issues. I have gotten red receipts from everybody, so I know there are still about 50% have not even opened the schedule yet, or opened the email yet. So I was gonna wait till the end of the day tomorrow to start making some decisions on what we have to adjust. But there are clearly conflicts out there, which, when you're trying to get that many people into a calendar, is always an issue. So I fully expect, that's why I called it a proposed schedule, because I knew it wasn't gonna be necessarily well received by everybody. The message
We're
is.
gonna put it off. We could let the FAC know as soon as possible, so that we.
Right. So it sounds like the 22nd would probably be the best date to start. And it is still out there that they should, and Jessica, for example, brought me her kind of rough draft of what her budget is gonna be. And the 15th was the date before I got here that was given to them, and we're not gonna change that. And hoping that by Monday we'll at least have maybe 80%, I don't expect 100%, but 80%, at least in a first pass form of most of the budgets.
Okay. New business?
Yeah.
Yep.
Scott, the last piece that I'd sent you on the MOU, were you able to find a spot for the ambulance memorandum of were you able to plug something
I
in?
have not integrated it yet, and there was one other issue with that I was waiting to get feedback on.
The one that was brought, that you asked me about in the email, I looked, there's already a clause in there. So it's one of those things is once this is signed, because we've never had anything signed, once it's signed, we can hold people responsible for the clause. It's training. You know, are they showing up for trainings, like emergency management training, things like that, that is a full town, like where all the groups get together.
Right, one of the things that Chief Carpenter and Chief Lund brought to my attention is they would, like to see active participations of the training, of course, especially in situations like active shooter scenarios, things like that.
Yeah.
And
that is,
seeing
yeah.
that participation.
But again, we can't hold them can't really hold them to an agreement that we've never had.
Yeah.
But there is that clause in there, so once everything's fine on that, then we're good to go. But that there is a clause right in there that says they will participate in group trainings that are,
So it's already in there,
yes,
okay.
yeah. So it's just that last piece of professional courtesy
Yeah, okay.
to be added, and then both the ambulance and other departments have to just ask for the one last review before we all meet to sign it.
Okay. So when that's done, Scott will forward it to you, or does he have the contact info for the people at the ambulance? What should be done?
He can send it to me and I'll get it to
Okay.
Sean Talbot, and then, but if you could just send a copy to Chief Lund and Chief Carpenter, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
And then we got to know that we maybe have a meeting, as we brought up, for the Wachusett and the pump and all that, a meeting with the people that are interested on the fire department and the Carolinians, so they kind of know where we stand and what are how is that relationship going to work out.
So what do we want to do, schedule a meeting?
Yeah, didn't they suggest the 29th as
I believe they did, yes.
appropriate or availability?
Yeah, for the night of the 29th, right after the Heart Safe presentation, because there is no, the entire fire department's free on that evening.
Okay. I think, we're doing budgeting, you're doing the,
I think if anything else, I think it's maybe just a help, like we would be helping to facilitate at least getting them together, so we can, I mean, you can kind of put together, like, this is what the selectmen's or our hopes are for these pieces of equipment. If you guys could get together and discuss this and find out.
Okay.
Because I guess like one of the questions was they weren't even sure whether there was still electricity hookup there, or is there a possibility of electric hookup there, or are they bringing everything in and bringing everything out every time they go to work on
Well, there's
something?
wires to the building, whether or not they're live.
Right, so that's just something we need to discuss.
Yeah.
And then the last piece I had for anything is, the response on that was from the Parks and Rec, is the PC that was purchased is for the concession stand. So I just need to, so I can let her know that it will be a budget item, and she's gonna have to figure out where to find $250 in her budget, or whether it is a revolving because it's only supposed to be used at the concession stand.
I guess it's not a big deal, but I don't understand what they use a computer at the concession stand for. Is it like a register?
Yeah, it's a POS system, so that they're actually ringing through, so they can track, we sold this is how much money we should have, instead of a bunch of people sitting there trying to write it on a piece of paper. It's a touchscreen POS system. So that's what it's for. So I would tell her I would find out whether that is or is not a revolving fund item.
I don't think it is.
I don't believe it is either.
No, but she can take it out of her budget.
So
I just let her know. That's all I have.
Okay, I got a couple small items. On the 23rd of October, Wednesday, the planning board's going to do a townwide gravel pit inspection. But before that happens, at 8:30 in the morning, a person from Concord's going to come down and give a seminar, a 1-hour seminar on how to inspect gravel pits. So the subcommittee is going to get educated prior to going out and figuring out what the heck's going on out there. Also, we're getting a lot of resident complaints about Green Farm Road and the lack of activity on the remaining section of that. We have Gary Litchfield coming in on next meeting with the planning board to discuss the activity. However, Holden Engineering was out there, I think, in the last day or so, setting bounds finally and doing an as-built. So we got something going on there. And
What's left to be done there?
we need the bounds set, we need the as-built done, and I think the driveway aprons is one of the big ticket items.
And he said he was, when I talked to him last week, he said he was hoping to have all of that stuff done prior to him coming in on the 16th.
Yeah, no, maybe not.
Sorry, will you remember to pull that
He said hoping.
thing for Nicole out of that folder so that it's paid from her budget, not from revolving, when we go in the office?
Yeah, yeah.
And I did have a question on the $500 invoice on the Autumn Fest. How is that being paid?
Like I said, I am not going to sign it. If the other two selectmen choose to sign it, that is up to you. But
I thought we had some questions on that, and we were going to get some clarification.
I thought we were gonna schedule a meeting
Yeah.
with the Stearns-Burt.
Yeah.
We're trying to for next week,
Okay.
Okay,
waiting for their response.
that's all I have.
yeah, and Carol Romer, I'd let Scott know Carol Romer wants to be part of that meeting as well as trustee of trust funds, because they had some questions on some. Because I asked her, I wanted to get a copy of the trust docs, see if she had them, and she asked why, and I explained to her, she goes, I'd like to be part of that, because they had some questions too.
Yes. I just want to let you know that, oh,
Hang on one sec.
yep.
So you've reached out to the Stearns-Burt folks?
Yes.
Okay.
That, the fire brigade building was reverted to the town of New Ipswich on July 10th, so that's already done.
How is that done? Is it recorded?
It's recorded, yes,
Okay.
because it was in the deed that if the brigade is no more, it automatically reverts back to the town,
Yeah.
so
And that's been recorded at the,
it's book 9186, page 2341.
Okay.
Yes,
That's what I thought.
so that has been done.
That's
Good.
confirmed.
But you got the paint too.
Oh, that's right, you
I
brought
need a
paint.
painter with it.
You need a painter with it, yeah, a scraper too.
I
One
just,
brush and one scraper and one body.
I just pressure wash it. Whatever's left, you can paint.
It's actually a pretty cool building, and it would be very easy to restore. And there's plenty of pictures, I got a whole bunch of stuff on, there's plenty of pictures on how it was originally set up. And in fact, the selectmen used to meet on the second floor.
Alright. Motion to go under non-public under RSA 91A 2E, consideration or negotiation pending claims or litigation.
Second.
All in favor?